For this next exercise, you are going to plot out 6 separate charts for the 6 primary and secondary colors. To get started, what I have here is I have my 6 primary and secondary colors. So I have my initial 3, and then I've added orange, violet, and green to the mix. I still have my pencil, I still have my white vinyl eraser, and then I also have black and white Conte as well. And I've created this chart on my drawing paper. The way that I did this is actually just by lining up my ruler parallel and perpendicular, and so I created this 5 by 5 grid just by doing that. So I'd encourage you to do the same thing with your ruler. You can just line it up and draw parallel lines, and then line it up perpendicular to those lines and draw 6 total lines so that you create this grid. Or if you have another method of doing that, feel free to do that. Ultimately, what I want you to end up with is a 5 by 5 grid. And so the way that we're going to work today is we're going to chart both value and saturation for each of these individual colors. So we're still working monochromatically, and you're going to make 6 charts total. And so if you even want to go ahead and make all of those charts at once before you get started working, you can. For today, for this demo, I'm just going to show you one color, and we'll decide what color we're going to do in a minute. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to be charting value this way, and this way, and then saturation this way, and that way. And so we're going to start with our bold primary or secondary color in this box here. You're going to start with a bold black and a bold white in these boxes, and then gray in this box. And then what you're going to be doing is blending a spectrum to basically fill in this grid. And so by the time you're done, you're not just going to have that one primary color, you're going to have 25 colors that are really going to give you a sense of the full range of that one primary or secondary color. So to get started, let's pick our color. I'm going to go ahead and do blue. So I'll fill in my blue square. And again, same rule applies here. I'm not expecting you guys to blend all of these colors together in between the boxes. If there's some messiness, I would go ahead and leave it because I visually like that anyway. But if you are the kind of person who prefers a really clean final visual product, you're welcome to erase the edges to get them nice and clean and crisp. And you're also welcome to be a little bit more careful about your blending as you are working on each of these individual squares. And I'll go ahead and blend that to get that bright blue. All right, and then I do have a little bit of other coloration on my white Conte, so I'm gonna go ahead and tear a little bit of this paper away to reveal more of it. And wipe it off a little bit. And I'm just using a dry paper towel to wipe it off and get whatever other colors on there off. Let me make sure that we're focused where we want to be. Good, good, good. So I'll put white here at the bottom. And the thing about filling in white on paper is you might think, well, my paper is already white. Why do I have to draw white on it? But what you're going to notice is that the white of your Conte is not going to be the same tone of white as your paper. It's probably going to be a slightly warmer white. And so even for this white square, it's important to fill that in and have that there. I'm going to do the same with my black Conte. And you may also notice that you're getting some little crumbs on your paper. I would try to just blow them away instead of sweeping them away, because you are going to just create, you're going to blend it all into the paper if you sweep it away. So I'm going to try to blow this away. And then for this final one, what we're actually going to do is make gray. So I'm going to lay down a little bit of black. We're going to make a medium gray here. And then I'm going to lay down the white on top of it. And you can do either way. You can do the white first or the black first. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and blend that black and that white. And then what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna lay down this spectrum of white and black and gray, and we're gonna fill it in with the color. And so you can start this either way, by either laying out the color itself or by laying out the spectrum of black and gray. And so what I'll go ahead and do is I'm gonna go ahead and lay out the actual white and black and gray first, and then I'm gonna overlay the color on top of it. So let's go ahead and we'll lay out the white first. Well, actually, okay, I changed my mind. We're gonna lay out the black first. So what you wanna think about is that this column is gonna be rich black. And then these subsequent columns are going to be lighter black, gearing towards this bright blue. And same is true for the blue. The blue is going to edge more towards black. And then same thing goes for the white. This is bright white, but then as we go this way, we're gearing more towards this gray. And so when you think about the blue being part of that color spectrum, you're decreasing the value, and then you're decreasing the saturation. And so let's go ahead. We'll do these two lines first, and then we'll fill in all of this area. So you can see I'm filling in gradually less black. Do a little bit of blending there to just fill that in. And so what that's going to do is it's going to create these gradually richer, darker blues. I'll use that little chunk. Okay, and then what you can even do is add just a tiny bit of that color on top of that. For some reason I have some yellow in here. Get that yellow out of there. And so what that does is it creates this rich black that just has this undertone of blue. And that gets back again to this idea that when you're making any artwork, you're barely ever gonna have black or white that is just like pure black or pure white. It's always gonna have an undertone of color to it. And so now let's go ahead, I'm gonna blow this off a little bit. So now let's go ahead and work on this value spectrum that's gonna get a little bit lighter. So I'm gonna lay down the white first, and then I'll lay down the blue on top of it. And I have to wipe my white Conte off a little bit, make sure that it's nice and clean and bright. Lay down a little bit there, a little bit less right there, and a little bit less right there. And then I'll wipe off my blue Conte. I especially want to make sure that there isn't any black on my Conte, because obviously, you know, we're making it lighter now, so that black will really kind of end up being kind of jarring. And then I'm even just going to add a really subtle amount of blue to this white here. Okay, so you've established this value spectrum that goes from this really almost white to almost black. And so now what you're going to be doing is combining these with gray. And so what I'll do is I'm going to stop this video and let you guys get this far, and then in the next video we'll be filling in this part of the grid with that gray. And so a different way to think about that is that you're going to be carrying over each of these colors and adding whatever other element is here. And so in the case of this really bright white with just a little subtle undertone of blue, you're going to add a teensy bit of gray, of black here, a teensy bit more black here, a teensy bit more black here, until you get this really kind of middle gray, and we're going to add a tiny bit of blue to that as well. And so hopefully that gives you a sense of where we're going.